Alina had always dreamed of leaving her tiny village by the sea. She wanted adventure, excitement, something more. But in Marasva, a place where people believed women should stay in their place, her dreams were treated like foolish fantasies. She spent her days watching ships disappear beyond the horizon, imagining what lay beyond. But no matter how much she dreamed, reality stayed the same. She was just a village girl. Her mother would shake her head whenever she spoke of leaving. A small life is a safe life, Alina. Whenever she spoke of leaving, people laughed. Better stay here, child. You're not meant for grand things. At first, she ignored them, but over time, doubt crept in. Maybe they were right. Maybe she wasn't meant for more. She had spent years diving for pearls to help support her mother and younger siblings, but even as she worked, she felt trapped. Then came the 3 moments that nearly broke her, and one that changed everything. Every year, during the village festival, one young person was chosen to give a speech. This year, Alina was picked, her chance to prove she had something to say. But as she stood before the crowd, her chest tightened. The words she had practiced vanished. She opened her mouth, nothing came out. Someone giggled, then another. Her hands shook, her mind spun. She tried to speak, but the words came out all wrong. The giggles turned to laughter. Her face burned, her stomach twisted. She wanted to stay, to fix it, but her legs moved on their own. Before she knew it, she had run away. That night, she lay in bed, eyes fixed on the ceiling. Her mother sat beside her for a moment, soothing her hair. "It's all right," she whispered. "People forget these things." But Alina knew she wouldn't forget. Weeks later, a traveling merchant arrived, searching for an apprentice to take to the city. He gathered the young people and gave them a test, a riddle. Whoever answered correctly would earn a place in his caravan and leave the village behind. Alina knew the answer, but she hesitated. What if I say it wrong? What if they laugh at me again? She stayed silent. A boy next to her blurted out an answer completely wrong, but the merchant only smiled. "At least you had the courage to try," he said, and gave the boy the opportunity anyway. Alina watched as he rode off toward the life she had dreamed of. When she returned home, her mother barely looked up from her sewing. "It's for the best," she murmured, but Alina wasn't sure. Months passed, and one night she sat by the shore watching the waves crash against the rocks. Her father had been taken by the sea during a storm years ago. She barely remembered him, but her mother always told her, "The ocean gives and takes, Alina. Never trust it too much." Maybe her mother was right. Maybe leaving was just another storm waiting to pull her under. The only person she could talk to was Mira, her best friend, the one person who always understood her. So the next evening, Alina confided in her, sharing her deepest hopes, her dream of leaving, of doing something great. Mira listened, nodded, smiled. But the next day, Alina overheard her speaking to the elders. "Alina is foolish. She thinks she's better than us. She should accept her place." Betrayal cut through her like a cold blade. She had trusted Mira, and now the whole village whispered about her arrogance. That night, Alina lay awake, angry. "Fine, if they think I'm nothing, I'll stop trying." For months, she just worked. Every morning she dove into the cold sea, searching for pearls, just like she had done since she was a child. The water was familiar, predictable, nothing like the life she once dreamed of. She worked in silence, avoiding long conversations, avoiding hope. But no matter how deep she dived, She couldn't escape the feeling that she was sinking. She was stuck, and worse, a part of her was starting to believe this was all she would ever be. Then one night, a violent storm hit the village. Winds howled, waves smashed walls. Alina was there, standing on the shore, lost in thoughts. But as she stared at the raging sea, she saw something, a ship struggling. Then, with a deafening crash, it smashed into the rocks. Screams filled the air. For a moment, Alina froze. Then, something inside her woke up. She ran back to the village, bursting into the meeting hall. A ship crashed! The crew is drowning! People shouted in panic, but no one moved. Alina didn't wait. She grabbed a rope and ran back to the shore. If no one would act, she would. By dawn, every sailor was safe. The storm was over. The sea was calm again. The captain knelt beside her, his voice steady but full of emotion. "You saved my crew. Without you, we wouldn't have survived." He paused, looking at her with something she had never seen in the villager's eyes. Respect. "A brave heart like yours doesn't belong in the shadows. Come with us, see the world. You were meant for more." Alina's breath caught. Me? She looked around at the villagers who had once doubted her. In the distance, she saw her mother standing at the doorway of their home watching. Their eyes met for just a second. Her mother didn't call out, didn't stop her. But in her gaze, Alina saw something unexpected. Not disappointment, not anger, but something that almost looked like pride. For the first time, she didn't hesitate. "Yes," she said. And just like that, the girl who once felt small became the woman who chose her own future. Maybe you have been where Alina was too. Maybe you failed, hesitated, or listened to voices telling you that you are not enough. Maybe like Alina, you started to believe them, that your dreams were too big, that you weren't meant for more. But if those struggles weren't meant to stop you, what if they were preparing you? One day, life will give you a choice. It might not look like a grand adventure. It might not come when you feel ready. It might arrive in the middle of a storm, when everything feels uncertain. And when that moment comes, will you see the strength that was always inside you? Will you take it?